days ago, I was mindlessly scrolling on TikTok until one afternoon I came across this edit. Now, I can't play the sound for copyright reasons, but I will do a dramatic reading. And tell me, who's your housekeeper? What you keep in your house? What in the world's in that room? What you got in that room? Naturally, this intrigued me. As both a huge fan of marine biology and analog horror, a series like this feels like it was made for me. So, I watched like 2 seconds of one video and immediately knew I had to cover it. I reached out to the creator, Squawk Productions, for permission, and permission I got. Right now, there's around 8 tapes that count as volume 1, which are all pretty short and are compiled into one 10-minute long volume. Aside from that, there are 2 shorts. One of them is more like a commercial or an intro, and one is a continuation of the first volume. That's what we are going to be covering today. Instead of recapping the entire series thus far, I'm just gonna give you thoughts and theories I have from each episode, and then give you a grand theory at the end, as I highly encourage you to go and support this project. Go watch it. Draw your own conclusions. Don't listen to me. What are you doing? Ignore this drawer in my wrinkled shirt. Volume 1 immediately starts off with an appearance from my goat, Rosie the Great White Shark. Let's freaking go, gamers. Let's make some noise for Rosie. And also, I know what to do when someone goes missing now. Yeah. Someone pointed out in the comments that the point to check the infiltration system in Sector C probably means the child died and is in the sector. So, we're on to volume 2, okay? We're moving fast, walk with me. Now, I don't mean to feed into stereotypes, but dolphins are canonically low-key a little bit evil. So I'm curious to see what they do with them, while also not being like, you know, evil to the dolphins. Also, ziplining over a river dolphin enclosure sounds like one of the stupidest things you could possibly do. And my theory on this was immediately backed up by there being a kill count of 1. Now with volume 3, I realized that the next few volumes are probably going to be a continuation of telling like a linear story of the results of the ziplining incident, which may seem like common sense to some of you. And if you think that, then you don't know how analog horror works. Because sometimes it's just like random shit, and then you have to be like, and then he died, and now he's a ghost! Belugas mentioned, my beloved. I freaking love beluga whales. They're my favorite whale. Yay! Unfortunately, my joy was soon diminished because I don't know if they killed the little boy, Jacob Smith, or if the dolphins did and he just like ended up there. Did the dolphins frame them? That's my question. These are the questions we need to be asking. Volume 4 immediately opens up with a massive warning about saltwater crocodiles. So I imagine that they're going to be up to some bullshit. At one point, when asked about the moon jellies, the tape says this. But I was like, I don't think that's true. And I looked it up, and as I suspected, they can't, obviously. But some people say apparently it's not quite as harmful as other jellyfish stings, because that's kind of subjective. Because apparently, different types of jellyfish have different types of stings. I didn't know this. That's pretty cool. Then we got some dolphin ASMR. Then we get a very quick cut, which I, of course, am going to overanalyze.
There is nothing underneath Sector C.
Okay, so I'm a little stupid and forgot to clarify or expand on this. That cut right there that shows the cavern under Sector C, that is going to be very, very, very important for our final theory, okay? So, remember that there is a cabin there, which then leads to Volume 5. I don't know about you guys, but something tells me the deep blue tank isn't just closed for holes. And I definitely think the dolphins did something to that kid. This is not coming from stereotypes, but rather the fact that we saw them do it. Okay, so I think the dolphins did it, and then they were moved to Sector C to kind of get them out of the way of the visitors, but then the Sector C was closed, because the dolphins who just killed the kid are in them. It is vital that you do not lose track. Looks greasy as hell. Ew! My first note for Volume 6 says, Nurse! Also, this thing is there too, I guess. Guys, I was accepted into the mermaid program. I'm gonna be a mermaid. Isn't that so exciting? It's not actually. And you'll find out later. I then got this, and I was naturally very curious on what it was seeing it. So I did some brightening and, There's also a YouTube link at the top, which I obviously clicked on, and was led to this. So, I don't fucking know. Luckily, someone else commented a working link, and this is what I found. It's not super climactic, But there does seem to be a lot of emphasis on the saltwater crocodiles. I could not tell the difference between 7 and 8 when I was watching the one volume, so we're merging them together. We got our first girl! Her name is Nancy, fuck yeah. Something bad is going to happen to her though, because she immediately gets nauseous when she goes in that tank, so diva down probably. Speaking of tank, some guy climbed into the beluga one. Like, he didn't fall, he like climbed the wall like Spider-Man and jumped in there. I don't know how he did that. Which is kind of based. I love those guys too, but I don't. Also, am I tripping, or does this person sound like Amesy to anybody else?
We were just talking and he turned around and started to climb over the barriers. It was so sudden. Call an ambulance, please, he's struggling.
Like, do you hear it or am I crazy? I'm not a huge Amesy fan. I'm a big Shovel fan. So that's how I get my Amesy exposure. There's also another link which just said this, but someone seemed to have figured it out. So that's pretty cool. Now, I told you that this was going to be short. We have our last one. Volume 9. Yeah, there were definitely like 3 deaths since this opens with a police interview. This is where you really need to lock in and pay attention, because we get a mention of a lead mine. More importantly, we get a mention of a giant squid along with the lead mines. So the flooded lead mine obviously has something to do with this, considering it belongs to the dad of the owner of the aquarium, who is British. I don't know why he's British. I think they're in California. I don't know if I made that up or not, but... And that mine absolutely has something to do with this, especially since the waste is going into the cavern. Speaking of cavern, a giant squid flashes on screen after talking about the lead mines, but more importantly talking about the caverns. Maybe it's living in the mines itself? The squids yearn for the mines. The latest installment in the series thus far is actually just an intro for the next tape. It does heavily It does heavily feature a crocodile. I was correct. I think the dolphins, the squid, the belugas, and the crocodiles are all intertwined beyond just being in the same facility. Theory time, hold on to your hats. My final theory as of right now, this might be canon, it's kind of underwhelming, is that the reason the animals are freaking out is just because of the lead being pumped into the water. And because we get a mention of the zip line being, the one above the dolphins, keep up, is made from a separate contractor, which could mean that the aquarium is trying to be sabotaged from the outside on purpose. Here's a comment that explains it the best I can. We're gonna talk about that goddamn squid now. Something's up with that guy. If he isn't a whole separate thing, that means that something's up with him. Question is the squid infecting the other animals on purpose, or does it just have that effect? Or does it just happen to be in the cavern that is affecting the other animals? Like, okay, wait. I think the water in the lead mine that is infected with lead is running off into the caverns, and those caverns run off into the aquarium, and that's what are making the animals freak out. I literally just thought of another possibility. Hold on. Okay, so I didn't mention this, but in the tapes, at one point, Sector C is expanded to have like 7 million gallons of water, and when we are shown that diagram with the caverns like behind it, is the cavern a part of that 7 million gallons of water? Is that why there's so much water? Is the cavern not just runoff? Is it a part of the sector? Question is, does the squid have anything to do with it? Is the squid intentionally malicious beyond just being high as hell on lead? Huge thank you to all the commenters who helped me wrap my brain around this. And Squawk Productions, go check them out. Draw your own conclusions. Don't listen to me, okay? I forgot to mention, by the way, I think we saw the Georgia aquarium at one point, which was pretty cool. I think, I could be wrong, I could be just looking at another aquarium that has tunnels like that. I think we saw the tunnels and a manta ray, because I've seen that same exact manta ray. That would be pretty cool if we got a Georgia aquarium cameo in this series. That'd be awesome. But yeah, the series is so awesome. Thank you for the creator for being so cooperative and listening to my bullshit ideas. Thank you, go watch it, bye!